Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to GT7. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different today, kind of in the middle of sort of talking about, car reviews and all that stuff. I thought I'd kind of discuss a car that's, well, pretty much disappeared from existence. Now this being the Suzuki Pikes Peak, the Escudo, the legendary Gran Turismo car, like synonymous with the franchise. It's almost but disappeared and it hasn't returned in the longest time, but it's a bit of a weird one. So we've actually seen a lot of the Escudo Pikes Peak, especially recently. So obviously we had the anniversary event, which you're seeing in the background here, as well as a time trial, both featuring the Suzuki Pikes Peak. You see it in a lot of imagery, it comes into a lot of the races throughout your career mode and such, but it's appeared, I believe, twice in the legendary dealer, once upon first release and then once very soon after, to then just disappearing ever since I believe July at this point. That's nearly 5 full months without this car even reappearing. And the weirdest thing is, as well as it not reappearing, we've actually had its engine put into the Mitsubishi Evo 10 in game before, since it's even returned, which is just absolutely bizarre. Like, it's such an iconic car, but it's just as if Polyphony just don't want to put it back in the game. Now I don't know if they've just kind of forgot about that they actually put this in the game. Well, they clearly haven't, because obviously it takes part in that many events, but it just seems very bizarre how little it's actually appeared. I mean, most cars at this point have come and gone another 3, maybe even 4 times since that Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak was last in the game. It's just so weird. I don't understand Polyphony's thinking by holding off probably one of the best cars in the entire game. In my opinion, this is probably the best, or if not one of the best post-launch, cars we've ever had. Yet they're very much limiting it from a lot of new players that might have come along since then. Whenever I've done a guide on this car, people just seem to cry out to me, when is it coming back? And in all honesty, I don't know. Mainly because it's just been away for so long without even, returning a single time since July. Overall, it is one of the best cars in the game. The fact that it can pretty much grind all the events, bar Spa. Never make that mistake of going into Spa because it does not have headlights. It may be obvious, but we've all kind of done something as stupid as that at some point. It's a very versatile car. Yeah, overall very, very good. Can be built in many different ways. It's just overall a very solid car. Racing online with it is great. It's obviously a dirt and a road car. It suits both down to the ground. It's a very, very usable car. In terms of, it has a lot of power, but once you kind of get into a groove with it, it's probably one of the better cars in the game. But honestly, it's almost just unheard of that the Polyphony hold a car back this long. You kind of understand them holding it back maybe a little bit extra with kind of the likes of sort of the 787B, maybe even the Sauber and such, because they are very sought after cars. But to basically make it disappear for almost 5 months at this point and not have it even return for maybe even a couple of days is just really, really weird. Like, I can't understand Polyphony's thinking sometimes. It's almost as if they've put this car in, put it in twice for like a very short amount of time, took it away again and been like, yeah, okay, we had it in for a little bit, we're not going to kind of give you those kind of additional cars. And it's really weird because I've seen a ton of new players enter GT7 since that Pikes Peak was last in the game. Some people weren't around or even playing the game when the Suzuki came to the game. People weren't around when it came back again, and I believe it was only in there for a short amount of time the last time as well, which just seems really weird. Like, I just cannot understand this legend dealership thing. It really does kind of throw me off, and that's kind of the next point I want to make. This whole legendary dealership thing just seems very, very flawed. The fact that some cars will just reappear more often than others, and I mean like a lot more often. There is certain cars that you seem to see appear almost like on a monthly basis, if not even sooner, whilst other cars just disappear for usually at most about 2.5 months to I believe like nearly 3 months is the most I've ever seen a car disappear. It's usually 2 months at most, but then cars will just like the Pikes Peak and stuff go away for 5 months. It's just Really, Polyphony, like, what are you doing? In all honesty, they should definitely bring this back sooner rather than later, because a lot of people are missing out on a very, very good car. But just to note, if you kind of look at some of the more, I don't mean it in a really like bad way about them, because look, let's be honest, these cars are great and they're all detailed and such, but you'll kind of see some of the more, I guess, dull and drab cars appear quite a bit. I seem to see the Jeep in there all the time. If I'm honest, you'll see stuff like some of the Fair Ladies and stuff, which most people have already got anyway, through like rewards and stuff. Like, you seem to see those ones like appear a lot more than anything else, which is just bizarre, because you can go out your way and earn them, and most people have already got them before they're even in the Legends dealer. So then what's the point in constantly putting them in more than, say, something like, the 787B and the Pikes Peak and stuff? It's just really, really weird, and to me it just kind of shows a flaw in the legendary system. I honestly think they should kind of do away with this whole hanging cars away for a long time, because I'm finding myself later on in this game now where I'm kind of waiting for like what feels like months and weeks on end for a car just to appear. The last time it happened to me, I was getting extremely frustrated. I believe it was one with one of the Porsche extra menus that I believe it's the old Spider, the the blue one. You'll kind of know it if you see it. Just kind of came in the dealer about a couple of weeks before, or maybe even a week before the update came out, and then we kind of got a extra menu ticket that you had to collect that car from. So then I was waiting for, I believe, like 2 months just for that car to return. And I mean, I was checking religiously every day. Sometimes I'll just kind of skip over the Legends dealer and not really think about it, because I just have that many of them now that I don't have to really keep checking all the time. I can usually kind of guess it. But yeah, it's just really weird, and I feel like it really does kind of limit the game, in a sense that people will just come back in a couple of months, or they'll kind of hear it through someone, or use the trackers and stuff that we have for the Legends cars, and they'll just drop in when the car comes, and then that's it, job done. I don't think it's really the best way to go, because people don't really wait in anticipation and get excited for a car to come back. Most people just sit around getting frustrated because they feel like a car that essentially we've guessed in a way paid for, with obviously buying the game, is then limited to only coming into the game probably like 3 or 4 times a year, which I just think is really weird. It's such a bizarre system, and I was pretty displeased with it when I first saw it. Don't get me wrong, it's cool having legend cars, but they don't swap around enough. I get having them in there for I guess a certain amount of time to make sure a certain amount of players can get them, but if that's the case, then extend it again. I mean, it was even worse on release, I'm not gonna lie. I believe there was less slots in there, but I think they need to definitely extend it so there's a lot more cars available at any one time, because I feel like as more people kind of get later into the game, they just sat around waiting constantly, getting frustrated, and then they kind of just sat on a ridiculous amount of money, which is what happens to most people, and then they'll just end up going and blowing that money, so when the car does come around, they've not got the money for it. It is just kind of one of those things. I'm not a fan of the Legends dealer. I think there's many different ways they could improve it, and hopefully, I mean, let's use Pikes Peak as an example. A car being away for 5 months and only ever appearing, I believe, twice is just ridiculous, considering the amount of hype they put through that car when it came to the update. I believe it came in the same update as Watkins Glen as well, so, and that was like kind of the main car. So it's just really weird. It's such a bizarre, outdated system. Hopefully they just kind of do away with it or improve it. Don't limit your players to certain cars. Don't kind of shut them off and make them inaccessible. They're already pretty inaccessible with the prices they are, so if you end up buying a couple of them, you can probably find yourself ended up then having to wait another 2 months of grinding to go and get one of the 20 million cars. So hopefully Polyphony also put the Pikes Peak back in, because that's just ridiculous how long we've been waiting, and also kind of take this as a bit of a thing of how to improve that system. Listen to your player base, listen to the people that play this game still, and work on ways to just improve the overall user experience and make it just more accessible to a lot of people, so that we're not constantly waiting on cars coming in, and that we can at least have a decent amount of time of earning money and not missing out for too long before a car comes back, because that's happened to me many times. So that's going to be it for today's video. I just kind of thought I'd talk about where the hell has the Suzuki Pikes peak gone, and just kind of the Legends dealer itself, and why to me it's such a flawed system. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you don't miss an upload from myself. Have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Take care, guys. Peace.